Hello everyone. Today we're making a Pillar Chase 2 monster tier list. Now, here's some things. First of all, some killers might not be in the correct place because either my lack of playtime or lack of people playing them or just overall not much knowledge on the killer. And some things are bound to change because reworks exist, buffs, nerfs, etc. And a lot of things depend on maps. Some killers are very map dependent, so killers that are very map dependent get placed in a weirder spot because they might be S tier in some maps or D tier on some. So they have some middle ground where they just are alright. And also, this is just completely my opinion. Obviously, tier lists are opinion based. You might have a different opinion, but I have my own opinion. If you trash talk me, I'll trash talk you. Fair is fair, right? Anyways, we're gonna start with killer releases, or first to newest, basically. Starting off with Vapor. B tier. Vapor is alright. Vapor does have 70 damage, but 18 sprint speed is really slow. Survivors have a base speed of 23, as I've heard. But one thing he does have going for him is 135 stamina, and he can have a lower stamina. He can have a better stamina drain with skins. I know this is a bug, but I feel like it should be kind of put in his kit because without it, he's kind of C or D even. But for now, I think Vapor's alright. His Skull Spiders are pretty good at causing pressure. His 70 damage means he two-shot survivors, and if Skull Spiders do 30 damage, that'll be a one-shot. His teleport is good for catching survivors. His orb isn't useful, but at least it gives information. So he has a lot of information. On indoor maps, he has good info. Next is Rosemary. Rosemary is insane. I don't know how people think she's weak. She has some of the best abilities in the game. It's crazy. Her first ability is Demonic Screech, which basically blinds survivors and deals 5 damage. This is actually pretty good because it can make survivors just hit a wall sometimes. But the main part of her is I forgot what it was called, but her second ability, basically once you're close in a range of her, your stamina will drain fast. It works even when you're not running. So that means you can become winded without running. Yeah, and she has really good base stats. She's 26 speed, has 45 stamina, which was a buff. She used to be 42. That's crazy. And she does 30 damage. That means she takes 4 shots to kill you. With 2 demonic screeches, that means it's a free shot. She's pretty damn good. She also passively gets information from you making noise. So that means she has an easy way of knowing where you are. She is pretty good. Next is Ao-Oni. Ao-Oni is not that good, in my opinion. The only thing Ao-Oni has going for him is chase, but he's not that good at chasing because if you manage your stamina well, he will pretty much not do much. It's pretty easy to tell if he's trying to pretend if he's being someone with shapeshift by either it being default animation or how you're running at people. So it pretty much gives it away who Aoni is shapeshifting. But shapeshifting is best used as a chase tool since it speeds you up, which means you are able to actually catch up to survivors. But even then, this is not that great. If survivors know what they're doing, they'll most likely not allow you to get kills. Or just not allow you to do much. His hitbox is good. His stats are 21 speed, 40 damage, which means it's a free shot. 2 shots will break bones. That's good. But only 100 stamina, which means you're not really catching up. But one good thing is Oni Vision gives some stamina, which actually can make or break which will make a difference in chase. Anyways, next is Fogborn. Fogborn is bad in my opinion. Fogborn doesn't have much in his kit except for his stats, which we'll talk about. He has 25 sprint speed, 40 or 45 damage. I don't remember exactly. I think it's 40. And 100 stamina. These stats are actually really good, but the issue is that he has an insane stamina drain. And his abilities don't help him that much with the stamina drain, so yeah, it's not like an MX where the stamina drain doesn't matter. It does matter with him, in my opinion. Sorry. But anyways, let's talk about his ability. His bad one. Yes, Foggy Stare is pretty damn bad. If someone does stare at you, yes, this is a good ability. But most of the time, if the survivor's smart, you won't get value out of it, and it's a really bad ability, and you're just standing there whistling. Thunder something will make you go invisible and move extremely fast. This is a pretty good ability for getting around the map as you don't use stamina, and survivors don't know where you are except they can. I believe it's like PCX where they can see your eyes or something. Unless that was a skin, then. But that's something I remember about facing Fogborn was that I could see something when he was invisible. But anyway, this ability is good, but not enough to completely carry him, honestly. I would say he's a bit better than Aoni because he has better stats, but overall, I don't think Fogborn's that good. Next is EXE, or Faker. Faker, you might notice, is my personal favorite. Faker's EXE is pretty damn strong. The main thing he has going for him is too slow, but his traps are pretty good depending on the map. If the map is in an indoor map or a map with a lot of doors, your traps aren't doing much, and you have a ability that is actually pretty good, but it won't carry fully. So you do need both of your abilities because you're just a slow killer, but your damage is pretty good. It's at 45. That is pretty good. You have 105 stamina, which might make a difference, maybe. But since you're 20 speed, you're pretty slow. But the main thing that helps him is his traps. If you're in an indoor map, his traps are just goated. They do a lot for him. Too slow is a pretty strong ability since they buffed it to 27 speed. I don't know what it was before, but holy shit, it's strong. Next is Baldi. I think he's S tier, simply due to the fact that he has unlimited stamina. Unlimited stamina is just broken. He's pretty fast. You can't do anything against him. He basically has better EXE traps since they force a survivor to just do a math problem, and no matter what they do, Baldi will speed up and they take damage. If a survivor collects 2 of these, they are 2 shot from Baldi. So they're pretty damn strong. His tape also allows him to be a lot more stealthier and see auras. Yeah, Baldi is just stupid strong. Also on console, if you get a notebook, you are forced to move your slow as cursor, click, hope the uh, chat box uh, appears in time, or else you're just dead. But yeah, that's all for Baldi. Next is Uncle Samsonite. I think C tier. I don't think he's that good, but this might be skill issue, honestly. It might be skill issue on my part, or the Samsonites I face. But yes, it's a two shot. Yes, he does have a two shot, but I don't think it's that good when his speed is 19. His abilities are fine. Lay down a beat is a bit inconsistent, I think. Uncle's Wrath is actually good if you punch someone. Because you hit someone, they get a little dance meter, you stomp, and they're dancing. That's actually pretty good, but the domain I think is pretty bad. It doesn't add much time, because yes, it does add time, but it's not much, so it doesn't really do anything. It's good for map traversal, for a slow ass, but I think you're just better off with other killers. I don't think Samsonite is that good, but I could be wrong because his rework did come out, but for now, I don't think he's that good. Next is Springtrap. I think Springtrap is actually pretty damn strong. I've been playing him a lot recently because I saw Springtrap play him without using the axe, and I've noticed that he was very oppressive. So I started doing that where I just threw the axe at someone and then just never picked it up. And I've gotten a lot of server wipes with it. Um, you're pretty much too slow with the axe. You're 18 speed, but without the axe, you are 20. So that's something to keep in mind. You're 21 speed with ventilation error, I believe. Or that might be Phantom Lock, and 24 with Phantom Lock, or whatever one. I just know that they buff your speed. Obviously, Springtrap has two bad abilities. X-Throw and Mechanical Slam, I believe it's called. These abilities don't do much for him. But Ventilation Error is probably one of the best abilities in the game. And, sorry. And, Phantom Walk is pretty good because it gives you 20 stamina and you move pretty fast with it. And if you touch someone, they get debuffed, so you do an extra 35 damage to them. I think Springtrap is actually pretty damn strong. Next is MX. S tier easily. He has a two shot and two good abilities that allow him to make pretty good distance. Let's talk about his stats. He has 24 movement speed, which is pretty fast. Well, you're only one speed faster than a survivor, but it's good. He does 75 damage. Not enough to break bones, but it's pretty high. And you have 80 stamina, but with a very high stamina drain. But here's the part with his two abilities. His charge, which allows him to pretty much get to a survivor without having to run. It's pretty good. And his ability, which is good for catching up to survivors. His jump. Because if a survivor messes up a jump, or if they're winded, they can't jump because it takes 2 stamina. I believe that's how it works. But yeah, MX is pretty good. MX will always be good, I think. Next is Forest King, and no surprise, she's probably the best. She has a really strong projectile, and her traps are really good. Well, they're not really traps, but the fangs that just float are really strong. They do They don't do damage, but they trap a survivor, give you a speed boost, and when you catch them, you can just not use stamina and do 40 damage and free shot them. You can use your shooting ability, I forgot what it's called, glitching blitz, and yeah, you have a free kill. Forest King has a really good time to kill, and yeah, you can't really escape her that well, because once again, her trap is pretty, I keep calling it a trap, but whatever, the things that trap you are pretty strong. Say what you will, but I think Nilo is not that good. Now, I'm really bad with Neil, so I can't really play him well. But from my experience with Neos, they don't do that well either. Nilo is probably a harder character to learn, and they're probably also very map dependent. Because if you don't get a good map, like with Inkfell, you're not going to do much at all. So this might be skill issue, which probably is, but I don't think Nilo is that good. I don't have much to explain. If someone who plays Nilo knows what true tier he can be in, tell me. Next is Wisp. I think Wisp is actually pretty good now after the rework, though this could be wrong, but every lobby I've played with Wisp, I've been destroying. But this also could be just Survivor's skill issue. But I think Wisp is fine now after rework. Just fine. But this could change to be lower, higher, or something else. But for now, I think Nilo's fine. I'm dumb. Wisp. Next is Vita Mimic. I think this might be skill issue on my part, but I think Vita Mimic is an alright killer. Vita Mimic basically has a unique gimmick where he does more damage the more kills he gets till it caps at 30. He starts at 15. Now, he does more damage against lone survivors. I don't know what the increase is, but whenever you get to 30, it'll do 40 damage against lone survivors. So, it's an increase, alright. He has one good ability and one okay or mediocre ability. Let's talk about his good ability, which is Elder Ascendance. This ability makes it so you're invisible much faster. That's all it does. This is actually good because you need that speed because you're only 21 movement speed and only have 100 stamina, which means you're 2 speed slower than a survivor, which means you're not really catching up that well. But I think his other ability, the sniffing ability, I don't know what it's called, is kind of mediocre because it's a really hard to see red outline, but it applies bleeding, which is good, but it's a hard to see outline, as I said. And on red tinted maps, this can be really hard to see. Sorry. I think Vita Mimic is pretty good because he has a really high attack speed with good damage, which means you're shredding well, but I think he's a bit lacking sometimes. Next is Fawadi. I don't think Fawadi's that good. Fawadi has 2 bad abilities. One that is worse Oni vision from our Oni, because it doesn't allow you to attack. So if Survivor is just standing right in front of you and you're using it, the Survivor can just stare at you. Silly Rush is pretty dodgeable and pretty easy to predict. Just be careful of long hallways and you'll be fine. With the classic skin, though, I think Fawadi would be lowest of B, honestly. But still, I don't think Fawadi is good at all, man. I hear a lot of people say he's good, but like, I don't see it at all. I don't see his potential. Next is Inkfell. I don't think Inkfell is bad or good. Like, he's very, very map dependent. If you get the wrong map, you are not doing much. You need a good map with Inkfell or you're doing nothing. He has he's the slowest killer in the game. So that means you're pretty slow. Slower than Vapor, which is not good. But what's good is that you have giant puddles, which, depending on the map, can do a lot. But if you get a pretty bad map, then those ink puddles are not doing much. Next is PCX, A tier. I think PCX after the buffs is pretty strong now. Not as oppressive as he was before the rework, sorry, but I think he's good now. Sorry. I think he's just good now. You Can't Run is now a really good ability. Found You is still really strong, and Jump, I think, is mediocre. But, yeah, I think PCX is pretty good now. I don't think PCX needs a buff or anything because he has good stats. He has good he has good abilities. He's just good right now. So leave him be. Next is Jeffrey Woods. Jeffrey Woods is a really strong killer. He has insane time to kill. He has two pretty good abilities. Crouch, which makes you very quiet, though you have a little chuckle. And the other killer ability is Manacle Haste, which makes you save a lot more stamina, which basically means you're basically getting a guaranteed kill. And you can chain it. Like, if you kill one, you save stamina with it, basically. Meanwhile, Crouch builds up your rage meter, which when you stand up, you'll move insanely fast and be able to kill a lot of people. He also has a really strong hitbox. He does 25 damage, 70 when crouch. He has 23 movement speed, which means you're the same speed as a survivor, and 90 stamina, which means you almost catch up to a survivor, but barely. By barely. Next is Valem. Valem is pretty good. He has a good hitbox. He has a decent momentum ability, and he has a good, basically a worse Rosemary ability. Sorry. Trickster's Truth basically just makes it so you're forced to walk, but you use stamina. Survivors have stamina drain near you. So they're pretty fucked if you're right next to them. You also do increased damage. It's 50, which is pretty damn good. And the other ability, it has clones, which can be a downside because they give buffs to survivors, which is not really what you want. And yeah, Valem's fine. And finally, we have Stricken. Stricken is pretty underwhelming, I would say, right now. His main form needs a buff. It's too slow. It's 17.5 speed. That is not enough to really catch up to any survivor. 165 stamina is not a lot, really, with that speed. You're just too slow. You are 27 speed with buffs. Custard buff. But infection doesn't last long enough for him to be that that good, in my opinion. His tank form, I think, is fine. Pebble Throw does need a bit of a buff, I think, because I thrown it many times and I've just not gotten a single hit with it. I think it's pretty bad of an ability right now. But his ground pound is pretty good, and his damage and hitbox is pretty good in tank form. But his main form, the custards are good, though, I would say, because they do slow survivors from doing objectives and they deal damage. So if you chase them away from the custards, they will be dealt with 50 damage or 49 if they reach the 2 HP mark. Valem is could go for buffs, mostly his main form, but yeah, this is the tier list. See you guys never or whatever. Bye.